Okay, you're recording.
So remember the day before yesterday how I told you that they started validating people, right?
Yeah.
So they got STG 1 to STG 2, and STG 2 is basically like a regular street gang, Blood, Crip, Hoover, whatever. So STG 1, however, is a prison gang. The Mexican Mafia, BGF, Kumi, which is a Bay Area organization, and just shit like that. So today they came through, they validated individuals that were Bloods, labeling the BGF, and the individual that was, I think, who was it? Oh, a guy from Hoover. So while I'm looking at the guy from that they said was a BGF, I'm like, how the fuck? They try to say he had a BGF tattoo on him and some other shit, but clearly, and he had a confidential that said that he was a foot soldier for an individual who they said was BGF. That's actually a Blood. Anyway, as this is going on, I'm looking around. I'm like, man, these people are on some bullshit. So I go to Chris. I say, Chris, I guarantee you these people are going to come try to validate me and say I'm have something to do with education. These are my exact words. I'll say, Chris, I guarantee you these people are going to come and tell you that I'm a member of BGF and that I got something to do with education. So I go to my cell, and the officer comes and lets me out. He says, hey, man, they want to talk to you. So I go down there, and the office, two officers inside there, two IGI officers, which is the squad, and one OCS officer. And the OCS officer I had seen 2 days prior, when he was outside of my door. I knocked on the door because when they raided, they took a book that I wrote and a letter that I wrote to a journalist. And I asked him, I said, well, why did you guys take my letter that I wrote to the journalist in my book talking about this STG material? He was like, oh, we'll give it back to you. So fast forward to the day when I seen him, he was like, hey, I told you I'm a man of my word. Here's your book back, and here's his letter. So he gave me this whole spiel about how they're just doing their job, and, they're just checking to make sure basically that what's happening in society with Black Lives Matter ain't going to happen here or whatever. So I'm like, I understand it's that you got to do your job, but you guys went above and beyond, snatching people out of their cell at 3 o'clock in the morning, slamming them up against the wall. So he was like, well, I admit that maybe, the way it was handled was wrong, but he was like, well, if you heard something was going to happen to your family, you would take the same precaution. I was like, so you mean to tell me that somebody told you that Marcel Williams is going to do something to somebody? He was like, no, you weren't mentioned specifically. So I'm like, well, how did I get rounded up in the whole operation? So I'm thinking, okay, they're just going to let me go and that's it. Right when I was getting ready to leave, the other officer sitting there, a black guy, he was like, he handed me a packet and was like, well, I'm here to serve you a validation packet. I'm like, what in the fuck? I said, seriously? Really? You're going to hand me a validation packet after you just sat here and told me that the material that I had in my book wasn't STG material? So they go through this whole song and dance about how it's just procedure. It's not, it doesn't affect you. You're not going to go to the hole or anything. It's just basically procedure that you have a right to fight. So I'm like, okay, well, what are you guys using? Because you guys been fucking with me because of my father since 2011. So they're like, well, we're going to go through everything that we're using. So mind you, keep this in mind. When they originally started fucking with me, they were using as a direct link to BGF having in my property my father's name and address. So they go from, because, and keep in mind that since that I've been 602 on the appeal process since 2019 with 2 different appeals that have been exhausted that are going to court to fight that. So they go through the source criteria that they're using. Instead of using the association/direct link, they're using a confidential informant who said that I'm the Minister of Education for the BGF. I said, seriously, what the fuck y'all gonna go with? Really? Then they said that's not even the worst. They said that the tattoo on my back, which is of a dragon with a big ass crescent moon and star in the middle of it, right, is a BGF. It's a tattoo that relates to BGF. I said, you don't see that big ass crescent and star in the middle of it? So they're reading the thing. It's on the top of it. It's a verse from the Quran. In Arabic, it's Sa'idahum bisahira, that translates as, on the day of judgment, they will be on a wide.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's a verse in the Quran that is referenced specifically to the Day of Judgment. So they said that when they took pictures of it initially a couple months ago, that they sent the picture to the FBI and OCS experts, and they translated to mean assaulter and attack on behalf of the BGF.
Are you fucking
They said that an expert translated it. I'm serious. They said an expert translated it that says assaulter and attacker on behalf of the BGF. Wallahi, it's a verse from the Quran that's that literally translates as and behold, they will be on a wide expanse, literally in reference to the Day of Judgment. And the dragon in and of itself is an Islamic symbol that's in reference to the Prophet's uncle Abu Jahl, who was attempting to assault the Prophet while he was praying. The dragon came up to protect him. So the dragon is a protector symbol. They're trying to say that it's a BGS symbol, and the verse on top is in reference to me being an assaulter and attacker on behalf of the fucking BGF. I said, really, this is what y'all going with? So they're being all professional, like, oh, look, it's not personal. This is just what they're saying. If you can fight it, you have 72 hours to write a rebuttal. We're going to come back and pick it up on Thursday, this and that, and this. But I'm like, how can you got, and they got a picture of George Jackson that I used in my book that they're saying they're using it as, what do they say? Making images showing that I'm associated with BGF because they use, supposedly, BGF uses George Jackson as a symbol. Like, really, this is what the fuck y'all going with? But my thing is, here's my question is, when you initially started fucking with me, you were using my father as association/direct link, which is what they need to validate you as a member of BGF. What happened was they realized that shit was weak and bullshit from the first place, started from when I was at CMC, and they changed it. Now they got a confidential informant, which is also bullshit because one, I'm not a fucking member of BGF, and two, everybody knows I'm about education. So clearly, anybody around here, if they got something against me and knows that I've been under investigation and been being harassed by the security squad for being a member of BGF, like what the fuck? Like, what's really wrong? Like, these people are out of their mind, and they're acting as if it's just normal. It's like, look, I don't know how many times and how many different languages you want me to tell you I'm not a member of BGF, but I'm getting to the point to where, like, I'm stressed the fuck out. Like, I don't know what else to do. I've written everybody. You know, I've 602'd it twice. Like, I'm flabbergasted, honestly, and I don't know what the fuck to do. But I just wanted to get that on record because these people will always try to put words in your mouth and make it as if you said something that you didn't say. Like, they had a dude that they said admitted to being a gang member. Like, he didn't, like, he said, look, when I had an interview with these people, I didn't admit to nothing. But when he got the documents back, they said that he admitted to it. So I know how devious these people are. And the fact that they'll translate a verse from the Quran to say anything about BGF is fucking laughable. Like, it is racial and religious discrimination.